A single flash over dark water, a streak cutting across the frame. Then the impacts and effects of fire blooms across the deck of an Iranian naval vessel, followed by thick black smoke rising into the sky. The vessel was once a symbol of Tehran's growing maritime ambitions, but it was transformed into a burning wreck. The US military didn't just hit a target. It demonstrated overwhelming dominance in one of the most volatile regions on Earth. According to U.S. Central Command, the strike was part of a broader operation targeting Iranian naval capabilities amid escalating tensions in the region. Newly released footage confirms that American forces struck multiple Iranian vessels, including specialized ships believed to be capable of deploying mines and drones in strategic waterways like the Strait of Hormuz. That looks to be a direct strike. Oh my god, you can see the debris flying into the air. That's nuts. That boat is destroyed. That looks like some sort of dock, a pier. Port, perhaps. Well, there's another boat that's gone. And this wasn't a one-off incident. In one of the most significant blows, U.S. forces targeted Iran's newly developed drone carrier, a ship that represented a major leap in Iran's naval strategy. The footage shows at least 2 direct impacts, with fires tearing through the vessel's structure. It was serving as a floating launch platform for drones and potentially missile systems designed to extend Iran's reach far beyond its coastline. Iran has invested heavily in asymmetric naval warfare. Instead of competing ship for ship with the United States Navy, Tehran focused on smaller, harder-to-detect threats, including drone swarms, fast attack boats, and sea mines. The idea was simple, and in an effort to make the Persian Gulf too dangerous for anyone else to control. But what this footage reveals is that even those strategies are vulnerable when faced with advanced surveillance, precision targeting, and overwhelming firepower. What makes this moment especially historic is how it may signal a turning point in modern naval warfare. Reports indicate that in at least one engagement, a torpedo sank an Iranian warship, marking the first time since World War II that an American submarine has destroyed an enemy vessel in combat. And it changes the physiological landscape of the conflict. Naval encounters between US and Iran were tense but controlled over the years, oftentimes featuring near misses. Iranian boats would swarm American ships, drones would shadow carriers. Each side tested the other, but rarely crossed the line into full-scale destruction. That line has now been crossed. The release of this footage is no accident. It serves multiple purposes. First, it confirms to allies that the United States is willing and able to neutralize threats in real time. Second, it sends a direct warning to Iran. Escalation will be met with decisive force. And it shapes the global narrative because in modern warfare, perception is just as important as firepower. But there's another layer to this. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical choke points in the global economy. Roughly a fifth of the world's oil passes through it. Any disruption there doesn't just affect the Middle East because it sends shockwaves through global markets, energy prices, and international stability. That's why Iranian minelayers and drone carriers are such high-value targets. If Iran can threaten shipping in the Strait, it gains leverage over the entire world. But if those capabilities are systematically destroyed, that leverage disappears. And that appears to be exactly what's happening. Footage released by the U.S. military reportedly shows strikes on up to 16 Iranian vessels, many of them believed to be involved in potential mining operations. This suggests a broader strategy, preemptive neutralization of threats before they can be deployed. In other words, this isn't just a battle for the sake of it. Still, the situation remains incredibly volatile. Every strike increases the risk of escalation. Every destroyed ship raises the stakes. Iran is unlikely to absorb these losses without responding in some form, whether through direct military action, proxy forces, or cyber operations. Here's an example of what Iran has already managed to inflict upon its neighbors. Israel has already faced major retaliatory strikes from the regime. And that's where the real danger lies. Because while the footage may look like a clean, decisive victory for America and Israel, it represents just one moment in a much larger and more unpredictable continental conflict. Wars are rarely defined by a single strike. They're shaped by what comes next. And the U.S. Central Command has posted the level of teamwork and cooperation that it takes to stage an operation like this at all. This looks like a scene from Top Gun. When's Tom Cruise taking off? Sorry, I'm trying not to be funny. This has got to be one of the U.S. carriers over in the Middle East. The formidable fleet the Navy has there. What are those, F-14s? I don't know if we still use the F-14.
Hands up, thumbs up, city's got military.
I mean, this is a full-on operation. This ain't training anymore. That's a big boy. It's a big bomber plane. Will Iran double down on its asymmetric tactics? Will it attempt to close the Strait of Hormuz? Or will it shift toward indirect retaliation, targeting U.S. interests elsewhere in the region? No one knows for certain. What is clear, however, is that the balance of power at sea has been dramatically reinforced in favor of the United States. The ability to locate, track, and destroy enemy vessels with such precision sends a powerful signal not just to Iran, but to every nation watching. This is what modern naval warfare looks like, and increasingly visible to the world in real time. The footage isn't just documentation. It tells a story without words that any vessel, no matter how advanced or strategically important, can be found and destroyed if it poses a threat. For Iran, that realization may force a recalculation. For the United States, it reinforces a long-standing doctrine. Control the seas, and you control the outcome. But for the rest of the world, it raises a chilling question. If this is just the beginning, then what comes next?